our Embodied Healing Masterclass. Yay! All right, so let's get started. When it comes to healing, it is not about fixing. So a lot of people come into my office and they'll say, I need you to fix my low back. I need you to fix my neck. I need you to fix whatever, because they feel like they need to be fixed. The problem is that they and you are not broken. So you can only fix things that need to be fixed, that are broken, right? So it's about fixing. Healing is not about fixing. It's about reconnecting and so connection and then tending to. Okay? So you are not broken. So you do not need to be fixed. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are driving and you have the Bluetooth on, so you're talking to a friend, hands-free, of course, and all of a sudden your conversation gets disconnected. Do you take your cell phone and throw it out the window and say, no, it's broken? No, my phone must be broken. No, never. What you do is you call back a little later or you redial the phone because you know it's a connection issue, right? Something is not connecting and that's why it's not working. So you don't say it's broken. You say, I need to change my connection. And that's the same thing with healing. So what are some of the things that actually need to be fixed? There are things like your phone, your computer, your car, the wall, something that can break. They break once, right? And then you need to fix them. However, you, as we talked about, are not broken because you are perfect, whole, and complete as you are. You don't need to be fixed. So we need to reconnect to the different parts of ourselves and then tend to those parts as well. So what needs tending to? Things that need to be fixed are things like the cup, the whatever, the plate, things made out of glass. Tending to things that are alive, your plants need to be tended to. Mother Nature tends to the plants that are outside with the sun, with the rain, with the weather, with the seeds. Pets, animals, those need to be tended to. You need to be tended to. So things that are broken, they get fixed once. Things that need tending to, it's an ongoing process, right? You don't work out once and then you don't have to work out the rest of your life. I'm sure we would love to do that, right? You don't eat healthy once and then you stop eating healthy for the rest of your life. You need to do it on a regular basis. You need to tend to yourself, right? Tending to yourself. So healing and tending to are a lifetime commitment. Connection and reconnecting to different parts of you are a lifetime process. So healing is a lifetime reconnection and tending to process, just like learning is. You don't say, I've learned in grade 1, you don't learn your math and say, okay, I've learned everything I need to know about mathematics, right? You move on to grade 2 and so on and so forth. But just because you pass grade 1 doesn't mean you know everything about that subject. And what we do is people finish, high school and then they go on to, let's say, university, college, and then we say, okay, you're all done learning. And that's it. Because we stop asking people, what is it that they learn? Whereas if we had said, this is just a lifelong process, then everyone continues to learn and heal and grow. Okay. So just like just like school and learning is a lifetime process, not school, but learning, healing is also that. All right, so how does the nervous system heal? The nervous system starts off as little cells in your body, right? Like you start off as a cell and then the cells start to proliferate and then they go and turn into, it's so interesting how a stem cell knows exactly where to go so that it becomes a kidney cell and then a liver cell and like all these different things. No one tells it how to do it. And the blueprint is already in there. Just like in a pine cone is the blueprint for the entire tree, right? It knows how to, within the seed of that pine cone is the blueprint for all of it. It's actually fabulous. So anyways, as we start to grow, we develop our nervous system, the spinal cord, the brain, the nerves, all the different things. And then as we get more developed, you can start to hear in the womb as well, right? And so we get to start to interact with our environment. So usually it's like the warm, cushy spot that you're in your mother's belly, but also you notice, you get to experience the different chemicals and hormones that are going in your mom. So let's say she had a really stressful pregnancy, then you would feel your nervous system would adapt to higher levels of adrenaline and cortisol. And so your nervous system would be created in such a way that it would respond in a certain manner to how your mother's feeling. You might hear things like maybe you heard fighting, maybe you heard loud noises, right? All this would condition your nervous system before you even came to the outside. And the purpose of that would be so that you would come into, you would know your body would be in a good state, like in a state in which it could handle the environment that you came out in. So then people tell me, okay, like I had a horrible childhood or I had, all these traumas and all these things happened to me, or, I was adopted and I don't really know what that was. While your nervous system is wired a certain way, it does not mean you have no hope, okay? Because of something called neuroplasticity. So what that means is you can rewire your nervous system. It helps to know where it came from and how you grew up. So if you have access to that information, like how was the pregnancy of your mom? What was it like growing up? How is your nervous system wired? Just so you understand yourself better. But it does not mean that just because you are wired that way, that you cannot rewire or change it. Okay? So that's the important thing. It's good to know where it started. You don't need to though, because at any moment you can say, all right, this is where I want to change it. How I want the future to be. Knowing the past can be helpful as well. There's also the concept of epigenetics. So epigenetics is that just because you have a gene for something does not mean the gene is expressed. So in a lot of times we hear that people have hereditary diseases. We're told it runs in the family. My father had a heart attack, my parents, aunts, uncle, everybody had a heart attack, so I'm going to have a heart attack. All right. So you may have the gene for something. However, the gene's expression is turned on and off based on the environment that it's in. Right? So when people say, oh, it's because it's genetics, it's not actually that the turning on and off of a gene is genetics. So let's say, for example, what environment would create more of a gene for, let's say, breast cancer to express itself? Let's think physically. Okay, so maybe if the body wasn't physically was weaker. So let's say you put food in your body that wasn't the best quality. Let's say you ate McDonald's every day. Okay, versus you ate a salad every day. Those are the blocks that your body uses to build the cells. Would your cells be more, your cells be healthier if you ate salad every day or McDonald's every day, right? It's something, I know we're like, well, of course you eat salads, but those are the building blocks, right? How much water you have in your body, how much sleep you have. Those are the physical things. How much exercise are you getting? How's your body detoxing? But there's also emotional and mental components. Would a cell thrive more in an environment where there's peace, where there's gratitude, or in anger, frustration, resentment, right? So you got to figure out what else are you putting into the environment of your cells. We know that when we're stressed, we release more adrenaline, we release more cortisol, and then all the cells in our body are bathed in that. How do you think our cells respond when you're in a state of the fight or flight versus in rest or digest? There's no one system better than the other because each system is used when it's needed, right? But they will create different chemical reactions in the body. Now, if you're thinking thoughts, your mental capacity and the identities in which you are have ingrained in you, if you're thinking, okay, I'm not good for the world, I'm not good enough, this isn't gonna work, la 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 la, I don't know how to heal, all the things, versus, okay, this is happening for me, this is happening for a reason, like what environment would you create for the expression of a gene? Would a gene be more likely or less likely to be expressed in certain environments? And certain behaviors are also run in the family, right? Because patterns of, let's say, how you eat, you probably eat a lot of the foods that, let's say, you were exposed to when you were younger, right? You can remember, oh, I love the way my mom cooks this food, or, I love the way that wherever, Asian food, I'm from Asia, obviously. So I love Asian food. And so it's not that something is hereditary. It is that the same eating patterns are together, the same behavior patterns are together. So let's say your parents or your family were athletes, Olympians. Most likely, you're going to be placed in sports or more active at a younger age, right? Because the patterns of behavior run in the family. And so when people say something is hereditary, you may have the gene for it, but you turn it on and off based on the environment of the cell, of the gene that you create. And on top of that, if your habits and your patterns are similar in family, then it's no wonder that we say, oh, it all runs from genetics. But there's so many components to it, right? If you grew up in an environment, let's say, with your parents are really, really angry, you probably learned through them how to deal with your anger, right? And your nervous system is wired for that as well. And so it might be easier for you to give into the wiring, but you can change it with the awareness, right? So we tend to learn when we're younger by modeling the behavior of other people around us. So if your teachers were telling you, okay, you should exercise is good for you, you ran a lot outside, all the things, your parents are always telling you to exercise, and you're in a lot of sports, most likely that'll be something that is a pattern of behavior for you. So when we look at patterns, we want to look at patterns of emotions, patterns of thought, patterns of behavior, and then see how that translates into our life. The funny thing is, people, when they study the black sheep of the family, like the odd one, they don't actually get all the same like diseases or illnesses or same as the rest of their family. Because let's say everybody is, from a farm, a dairy farm, and then there's somebody who's like allergic to dairy and doesn't eat it. They get different illnesses. If you're looking at somebody who, let's say, eats a lot of meat, and then another is like, okay, this person's like vegan, right? Just different patterns of behavior will bring about a different condition in the environment of your body, right? Certain foods can bring a more acidic component to your body, and some can bring a more basic, so it all depends on the environment with which you're creating in your body, but physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So healing for the nervous system can start from knowing how you were wired so that you're more aware of your patterns. However, if you don't have that knowledge, if you don't remember that, part of the way that you can is to see your reactions, see what's ingrained in you, but it's not required because you can also choose to change at any time, right? But rewiring it, the process of rewiring the nervous system comes from creating a new pattern, something that hasn't been done before, or a new perspective, seeing something from a different way that it hasn't been done before, right? It doesn't come from focusing on what is not there, like something that you lack. It comes from focusing on what's right there. So when we talk about healing, you're not going to get to healing when you're worried about what's sick and what's wrong with you, right? You're looking for, all right, what part is already doing well and how can I get that to the next level? So we're going to talk about that. So it's in healing identity. Do you believe that you can heal? That's a question only you can answer. But I hear a lot of, from my patients when you come in, like, I don't think I can heal from this. Like, let's say low back pain. I don't think I can heal from this neck pain. I don't think I can heal from this hernia. I don't think I can heal from all these things. But it's interesting when I ask them, let's say you cut yourself, you give yourself a paper cut. Do you think you can heal from that? Oh, yeah, I can heal. Great. How about if you bruised yourself? I currently have bruises from my kickboxing class. And no doubt that I feel I can heal from that. So yes, I can heal from a bruise. All right, what if, heaven forbid, like you break a bone? Do you think you can heal from that? Yes, okay, I can heal from that. All right, but you don't think you can heal from neck pain? No, I won't be able to heal from that. So it's interesting to ask ourselves what it is that we think about healing, and why is it that we think we can heal from something and not from something else? And remember, healing comes from physical, emotional, mental, spiritual place. There might be something that you cannot heal physically. It doesn't mean you can't heal from it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, right? It needs to be that you feel healed, or you feel that you can heal. So why do you believe you can heal from something and not somebody else? Here's the thing. If it's been done by somebody else, so if somewhere on earth, someone has healed from the neck pain, that means that they exist as a pathway of possibility. Meaning, if it's possible for them, there exists the possibility for you. So a lot of the times when we look at other people, we go, oh, I wish I had that. If I had, all the money in the world, I'd be able to do that. Of course they can heal, they do it. Okay. What people are actually showing us is, I am a pathway for possibility. If I can do this, that means there exists the possibility for you. You might have a different path. There might be a different route that you take. However, it's possible. We tend to compare ourselves to others when we can't, because no one else has lived our experiences, our behaviors, our upbringing that we've had. So we can't compare. We also don't know where they left from. So everyone's taking a route, right? But we don't know where the other person is left from. You can say, oh, well, they're the same age as me and they have like millions of dollars in the bank and I don't have that. Okay, but we don't know how they got there. Maybe their parents left them millions of dollars, right? They left from a different destination. So the only fair comparison that you can make is between you and you. You can compare yourself to the past you and see how far you've come. You can talk to the future you and see how far you want to go. So you can compare yourself to yourself, because only you would have lived through your life experiences and everything that has happened to you before. So when you see someone else that has done something that you want to do, you focus on, if they can do it, that there exists a pathway of possibility for me to do it. And that focus of there's a possibility shifts you from the lack of something, so the lack of healing you're experiencing, the lack of resources that you desire, the lack of the relationships that you want to have. Lack will only see more lack. And it starts to shift you into that possibility. Once you see possibility, that's when you start moving into the abundance. If it's possible for them, exists a possibility for me as well. You don't have to know how to get there yet. You just have to know, all right, it's possible. Because once you go from a state of lack, the frequency of lack, into, maybe this is possible, that in itself already changes what you attract back to you. And what you attract back to you from there, you make the next step. You don't have to know all the steps or all the things along the way. You just have to know enough information to go from one step to the next step. Because if you're changing along the way, every next step you become a different version of who you are. You create a different frequency about you, and then you attract and give off to the universe a different frequency coming back. So you won't even know the person that you become 5 steps from now. So all you need is the next step, and everything you have everything within you right now to take the next step, to take one next step. Whether that be, all right, I know that I have not been eating as well as I would like. My next step is to this. I know that I've not been exercising or moving my body in the way that it needs or it deserves. Great. I know my next step. I know that I've not given myself time for reading, meditation, whatever it is that fuels you. Okay, great. I know that it's time to have a conversation here. Wonderful. I know the next step. I know it's time for me to learn more about whatever subject you want. Now you know the next step. So from where you are, you might not know the finish line, but you do know, what do I need next? Because you have within you already what you need to make the next step. So when we look at healing, if you're at a place where you're like, I don't even know if I can heal, start to look at yourself. Where have I been healing? I know I cut myself, I know I heal. I know I bruise myself, I know I heal. I know that my hair grows longer. Okay, so my cells are growing. Great, I know that my nails are growing. Okay, wonderful. That means I'm creating new cells. I know my lungs are working. Okay, I know my heart is beating. All right. So look at where healing has and is already occurring within you, because healing is the natural state. You are designed to heal. That's why your body heals. You don't tell the cut, all right, cut. You go and heal. It does it on its own. So it's a reconnection process between you and that part of yourself that already innately knows you were meant to heal. Now, there are different types of wounds, and all need tending to in different ways. So what we aren't taught about when we're young is there are different types of boo-boos. I had this conversation with my 5-year-old. Either they're told, okay, this doesn't hurt, or you're okay, or suck it up, or, don't cry, or whatever it is. But there are different types of boo-boos, and people need to know that from when they're young. Right? There are cuts that hurt for a little bit, right? But then you will be okay. So this happens physically and emotionally as well. You can be disappointed for a short period of time, and it'll be okay. It's okay to feel disappointment. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay. Right? So little hurts for a little time. Okay. So it happens physically and emotionally. Then there are cuts that require medical attention. You need to go to the hospital to get stitches because it is a big trauma, a big boo-boo. You're going to need some support for healing. This happens emotionally and mentally as well. So what you need to discern is this a small bobo or a big bobo? And if it is a bigger one, then you need to be able to tend to yourself and go seek the help that you require in order to figure out the bigger boo-boo, whether that is to talk to somebody, if it's more emotional, mental, whether it is to actually take care of your body and say, I should probably get this checked out. I should probably get a scan, like go get an ultrasound, whatever it is. Do not tend to yourself. Okay? If it is a little hurt and it'll be okay, and you can just put a Band-Aid on it, okay. But you need to know the difference between a little bobo and a big bobo. So this is what happened is my daughter, she bumped herself in the leg or whatever, like small, not even a bobo's, crying. That's okay. And when I went to see her, by the time I even got there, she had already stopped crying. And I was, what is it that you need? Do you need a kiss, or like, did you need to tell me about it? And we had to talk about, okay, there are some bobos, because I don't need to hear about all of them, that if you feel like it's a little bobo, then she knows now where her Band-Aids are, how to go get arnica cream, all these things. She's going to figure it out. And then I told her, there are also big bobos. If you don't think that you're okay, if this is a bigger bobo, then and it's still hurting after a certain amount of time, mommy needs to hear about it, right? Like if you bump your head, I need to hear about it. So we want to give people enough power for them to say, okay, this is a little bobo, I can fix this, because there's power in that. There's power in knowing when you're 5, I know exactly what to do. I know where my arnica cream is. I put that on. I take a couple of pellets, whatever it is. I know where my Band-Aids are. They have the little princess Band-Aids. Put it on. I'm good to go. I'm back out. Because I want her to be able to do that. And then we also want to say, all right, this is a bigger bobo, and I do need some more help. And that's physically and emotionally as well. So when my kids come to them, let's say, especially my daughter, she's crying, then I ask, is this a bobo on your body, or is it your feelings that are hurt? And the interesting thing is she'll even say, no, it's my feelings that are hurt. Nothing on my body hurts. It's my feelings that are hurt. Okay, great. So it's a different conversation. Right? But we need to be able to tell people that it's okay, that if you have something that needs tending to, then you do not have to suck it up. You need to tend to it. Right? So if you require professional support, seek that out. So the identity I want you to start to absorb is every day, in every way, I'm healing more and more. And not to say that from a place of, I don't believe it. I want you to search for, how am I healing every day? You know, how is my body making new cells? Yes, great. Am I sleeping? Yes, great. Okay. How am I healing? And just look for all the ways that you're healing. And then that will start to build on itself. And over time, you'll be like, oh, wow, look, my body's capable of healing. So you start to look for evidence to support that you are healing. And then eventually you get so much evidence to support it that it becomes your identity. It becomes a part of your nervous system. Whereas before, you have ingrained in your nervous system, I don't know if I can heal. Now it becomes, oh, I'm healing more and more every day, in every way. I'm healing more and more. And then that is what you start to look for, because that becomes a part of your identity. Because the brain, our mind, is magical, right? Like you can ask it any input and then it spits something out. So if I said, what are all the bad things that happened to you yesterday? You would start telling me all the bad things that happened to you, right? And then if I asked you, what are all the great things that happened to you yesterday? Then you start looking for that. And then you start searching out, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened. And all of a sudden you're in a good mood again because I asked you what great things happened to you yesterday. And even your brain is such that even if you had a bad day overall, you'd be like, okay, I'll still find something great because I asked it to. Right? So you give the inputs that you want your brain to look for. So it's actually magical. If you start saying, look, show me the evidence that I'm healing, your brain will spit it out. Your nervous system goes, oh, you're healing here, you're healing here, this is happening, that's different. And over time, you start to notice, hey, I'm doing this better. I've grown here, grown there, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Oh, I'm healing in the way that I'm eating. I'm healing in the way that I'm speaking to myself. I'm healing in the way that I'm speaking to others. I'm healing in the way that I see myself, how I perceive myself, my perceptions. So I'm healing more and more every single day. And your brain will spit out the input that you put into it. So we want to find evidence of the new identity, your new relationship that you want to have with healing. Okay? Because there's an event that happens, and then there's the interpretation of that event. And sometimes they're not the same, because your interpretation of an event is fueled by your past experiences from trauma. So you're not actually reacting in this moment. Okay? And so what we want to know is the way that I'm interpreting this event, does it serve me? If it does, you can keep your experience of it. If it doesn't, you get to decide, you have a choice to change how you see it. Healing from your past comes from, it doesn't come from changing what happened to you, because it happened, it's an event, and we don't want to delete it or take it out. We want to change our perception of what happened, because we can see there's always more than one way to see something, right? It could have, you could say, why is this happening to me, and bring in suffering. You can say, why is this happening? Everything happens for a reason. You can say, why is this happening for me? Oh, that's different. Now it's happening for me. This is happening for me. Now what? Right? And when you look at it that way, what did I learn from this experience? What has this taught me? How has this brought, something good into my life? Then you start to notice, oh, I'm changing the way that I perceived my past. Not changing the event that happened, I'm changing the perception of what was happening or how I'm relating to that. And that's how you start to heal the past. It no longer was something that happened to you. It becomes something that happened for you because you learned lessons from it. You grew from it. You met people that you would never have had from it. You had experiences that you wouldn't have had from it. And it shaped who you are today. And so that's how you make peace with the past. And the wonderful thing is that you can change your past at any instant. And you can decide, okay, from now on, I'm going to have a new future because I'm going to change the way, my identity and the way that I'm currently seeing a situation. So you can either go into the past and change and reframe your perception of it, Or you can just decide, I'm going to do a new future and I don't need my past in order to do it. So healing, it can happen in an instant, but it requires tending to, it requires nurturing, just like the plants. So healing is a multifactorial, multidimensional process. And you can heal on all different levels. And so when we look at something like, okay, I have this physical thing and I haven't healed from it, but you ask yourself, am I the same person now as when it started? And you can go, no, it's not. Then it doesn't define who you are, right? There are people, you can be, let's say you have diagnosed with like a terminal illness, because I've worked with patients who have terminal illnesses. There are ones that allow the illness to define them. And so every time you ask how you're doing, they talk about the illness. That's okay. That is their experience. And then there are some people who have that same terminal illness, and they are a person living with that, but it isn't a part, it's a part of who they are, but it's not all of who they are. So I'll ask another person with the same illness, okay, how are things going? And they'll be like, okay, well, you know, at home, this is what's happening in my relationships. This is fabulous. This is great. This is what, like, yada, yada. They might not even talk about their disease or their illness or whatever until like 0.5 or 6, where somebody else with the same challenge will come into my office and they'll say, okay, everything's bad. Nothing's working. I'm not healing. You know, this is, I'm going to have this, whatever, whatever. So it could be the same thing, but different experiences. And that's how you start to change your perception and change how you wire your nervous system in order to heal. Any questions? If you do, you can write your questions in the chat, okay? And along the side, or take yourself off mute. Some people like to do that. And then let me know. All right. So right now, this is Embodied Healing, the Masterclass. In my membership, the Daily Dose of Healing, we are talking all month about healing. We're going to be doing some meditations. We're going to be talking about different types of healing, how to heal, all the things. So if you want to join us in that, then I'm going to be sending out the link along with this free play. You can hop into the Daily Dose of Healing. When you join the Daily Dose of Healing, you can also get access to all the previous trainings. I think we're like around 400 trainings. So it's about training of anything. We did identity, we've done nervous system work, we've done worthiness, we've done all these ones. And every single month has a new layer and a new training. So the next piece of information I want to tell you is that we're going to have another 7-day immersion. Yay! So I've done these 7-day immersions where I do training for like 7 days straight. We meet on Zoom for the first one, and then in Telegram, I do like a 15-20 minute training on some aspect of, so we've done embodied wealth before, we've done embodied identity. And the next new one, everybody loves these because it's a concentrated time where you're focused on one subject. So the next one is next 7-day immersion is going to be embodied growth. And that's going to start on November 5th. We're going to be talking about growing as a whole person in all aspects of your life. And that so that you can tap into joy, abundance, pleasure, whatever it is that you want to on your next level. We're going to be talking about the quantum leap. We're going to be talking about like the identity of growth. We're going to talk about the energetics behind growing. We're going to talk about how to rewire your nervous system. So today I told you that it's possible to rewire it, but we're going to go into the more specifics of how to do that. So if you want to join us for that, then that starts on November 5th. It's going to go for 7 days straight. The investment for that is $99. And if you join us in that, then you also get a bonus month and 1 month in the Daily Dose of Healing, which is $99 as well. So you actually get that one for free. Those of you who are already inside the Daily Dose of Healing, that's included in your membership. So there is no extra charge for you to join in the 7-day embodied growth immersion. Yay! So that is all I have for you today. today with embodied healing. Next month is going to be the 7-day immersion. And then what's that? So that's November. December, it is going to be another masterclass. I haven't figured out which one yet. So it'll be a surprise and I'll let you all know when it's announced. All right. So enjoy the rest of the day. It has been fun. And send me any comments that you would like. Have a great day.